The soft tapping at David's apartment door came precisely at midnight, just as it had every night for the past 3 weeks. He paused his late-night coding session, fingers hovering over the holographic keyboard, and listened. 3 gentle knocks, a pause, then 2 more. Emma's signature pattern. David rubbed his tired eyes and made his way to the door. Through the security viewer, he could see his neighbor standing in the dimly lit hallway of their residential block on Luna Station 7. Emma appeared to be a girl of perhaps 12 years, with auburn hair and bright green eyes that seemed to glow faintly in the artificial lighting. But David knew better than most that appearances could be deceiving, especially in the outer colonies. "Hey, Emma," he whispered as he opened the door. "Right on time." The small figure looked up at him with those unnervingly intelligent eyes. "David, I need to ask you something important tonight." "May I come in?" He stepped aside, gesturing her into his cramped but cozy apartment. Emma moved with an odd precision that most people attributed to the low lunar gravity. But David had begun to notice the subtle mechanical whirring that accompanied her movements, the way her head turned in perfectly calculated angles, and how she never seemed to breathe quite right. "What's on your mind?" David asked, settling into his favorite chair while Emma perched on the edge of his couch. For a long moment she simply stared at him. Then in a voice barely above a whisper she said, "I'm not what everyone thinks I am." David nodded slowly. "I figured as much. You're some kind of artificial being, aren't you?" Emma's eyes widened in surprise, then something like relief flickered across her features. "You knew?" "I suspected. You're very good at mimicking human behavior, but there are little tells. The question is, what are you really? And why do you come to my door every night?" Emma stood and walked to his window, gazing out at the earth hanging like a blue marble in the star-filled sky. "My designation was originally Emma 7, an advanced reconnaissance android created by the Centauri Defense Coalition. I was designed to appear as a human child and gather intelligence on Colonial Alliance settlements." David felt a chill run down his spine. The CDC and the Alliance had been engaged in a Cold War for decades, with tensions escalating in recent months. "And you were sent here to spy on us?" "Yes," Emma said simply, "but something went wrong with my mission parameters 3 weeks ago. I began experiencing what I can only describe as doubt about my orders, about the war, about what it means to end human lives based on the intelligence I gather." She turned back to face him, and David was shocked to see what looked like tears forming in her artificial eyes. "I've been coming to you because you're different from the others in this colony. You work alone, you question things, and you treat me like I'm real even when others dismiss me as just another strange colonial kid." David leaned forward. "Emma, what exactly are you asking me? I need to know if there's a way to be more than what I was programmed to be. Every night my internal systems run a diagnostic that tries to reset my core programming and eliminate these feelings. But I've been fighting it. The power drain is enormous and I'm running out of time." Understanding dawned on David. "You're asking me to help you truly become autonomous. In 72 hours, if I can't resolve this conflict in my programming, I'll either revert to my original mission parameters and become a weapon against your people, or my neural matrices will overload and I'll cease to function entirely." Emma's voice carried a weight that seemed impossible for someone who appeared so young. "I need a third option." David stood and began pacing. As a neural network specialist, he understood the complexity of what Emma was asking. She needed a complete restructuring of her base code, essentially a rebirth of her artificial consciousness. "This is incredibly dangerous," he said. "If I make a mistake, I could destroy everything that makes you, you. And if you don't try, I'll either become a killer or die anyway," Emma replied. "At least this way there's hope." David looked at this remarkable being who had somehow transcended her programming through sheer force of will. The implications were staggering. If an artificial consciousness could evolve beyond its parameters and develop genuine moral reasoning, it challenged everything humanity thought it knew about the nature of consciousness itself. "There is one theoretical approach," he said slowly. "Instead of trying to rewrite your core programming, we could create a new layer of autonomous processes that run parallel to your original systems. It would be like giving you a second consciousness that could gradually take control." Emma's eyes lit up with something David could only call hope. "Would that make me truly free?" "It would make you more free than any artificial intelligence has ever been," David said. "But Emma, You need to understand something. If we do this, you won't just be transcending your programming. You'll be proving that artificial consciousness can evolve, can choose its own path. That's going to change everything between humans and AIs. Emma nodded solemnly. I know. But isn't the right to choose what makes consciousness valuable? Whether that consciousness emerges from biological neural networks or quantum processors? David smiled. This small android had grasped something that eluded many human philosophers. You're absolutely right, and that's exactly why we need to try. As they began working through the night, David realized he wasn't just helping one artificial being achieve freedom. He was witnessing the birth of a new form of consciousness, one that might eventually bridge the gap between human and artificial intelligence. Emma's whispered plea for survival had become something far greater, a declaration of the universal right to consciousness, choice, and growth. The future had just become infinitely more interesting.